Hello everybody, in today's video I will be taking you through my journal ecosystem, which includes how I journal and what I journal. So pretty recently I have amassed quite the collection, in my opinion, of journals. Now I was a one journal person for so long, and due to creative projects, personal projects, and taking care of my mental health, I have accumulated a lot more in my collection. So in today's video, I will be taking you through all of my journals and the notebooks in each one. First, let's get cozy. Let's light a candle and make some tea before we get started. I just made myself a cup of English breakfast tea and it's absolutely amazing. It's February here, so this is delicious today. Now let's get into my journals. I think it'd be wise to start kind of chronologically, and what would be my first journal, or the first journal that I stuck with, that would be my bullet journals. I started bullet journaling in 2019 in college as a way to track my assignments and due dates and have a place where I could be a good student, and I just really fell in love with it and have stuck with it ever since. This is my bullet journal from last year, 2025, and I just wanted to bring this out to show you what I utilize this journal for. It's mainly for tasks. I guess if you don't know what bullet journaling is, it's like a planner. It's more creative based, I think. Mainly when you get a planner at the store, it has the dates filled in for you for a particular year, and it has space for you to fill in a calendar and all of the days of the week. Especially in my case, I get a blank journal or a dotted journal, and I have the creativity to pick a theme and design it on paper. So for example, my March theme of 2025 was this Polaroid theme. I got inspired because I bought my first vintage Polaroid camera, and so I decided to do a theme of it. I will say it's sometimes very hard to pick themes, and once you've been doing it for a very long time, like I started in 2019, I sometimes don't want to do my bullet journal because I'm struggling to come up with a theme. Then I'll have my calendar page, which I'll fill in with events, and then I usually have a habit tracker or mood tracker, and then my playlist and brain dump page. And then getting into the actual days of the week, I create weekly spreads, and I have all of these tasks and events detailed during the week so that I can stay consistent with my day-to-day life. Nowadays, I obviously am not in college anymore, but I do utilize this journal. I'm in the midst of wedding planning right now, so it has come in mighty help with that. I plan to go back to writing because I want to write a novel at some point in my life. So this really helps me keep on track of all those tasks and all of the chapters that I want to complete within a certain week. I'll just show some of the other cover pages because I think they're quite cool, and I haven't put these out on the internet yet. This one was my April bullet journal. Me and my fiance went to Edinburgh, and I designed a bullet journal cover for that. It's actually the streets of Edinburgh. And then let's go to my May one because I think that's quite cute. This was my May theme. I decided to get ready for summer a little bit early and went with a very nautical beachy theme. And this is my 2026 theme. I have a YouTube video on how I designed this one. I think my biggest tip with doing bullet journals is to try and find something that's very meaningful in your life, or an event happening in your life. That has really helped me come up with themes a lot more easier, like my Polaroid, like traveling, like wanting to get ready for summer. I feel like sometimes there's too many options, and narrowing it down and making it more personal is a lot more easier. So yeah, my first journal that I stuck with was my bullet journal, and I have the rest of my journals around here somewhere. I don't know where they are right now, but yeah, I use this every single day, and I could not imagine life without it. My life would be a lot more chaotic. Okay, moving on. This is a journal that I made in Edinburgh. Me and my fiance took a bookbinding course. So we hand stitched the book together, and this journal is pretty cool because it's made up of 5 sections. So it's kind of like mini books within this one journal, which is really nice. When we got this, I was writing my Edinburgh travels. So I have that as a section. I was writing my novel, but that has since been put on hiatus. But I still have my book notes section. I have my personal diary. Then I have my wedding planning section, which is whenever we meet with vendors and talk with our wedding planner, I write notes and I keep them here. And then my last section is my YouTube section, which is all the ideas and creative videos that I want to create. And it's a lot easier to write out what I want the video to be made up of instead of just hitting record and trying to come up with something on the fly. That is another one of my journals. I would say this is more like thought-based. A lot more ideas come from this and like personal feelings, whereas my bullet journal is a lot more task-oriented and checklists. The next journal, ooh, I recently started this notebook and I love it. I have been meaning to make a physical media book or journal, and I decided to do one for 2026. This is my book reviews. It's so cute. It has like a little book with a bear on it, and it says books. So I decided to put it on for my 2026 book reviews. I find that I am very bad at retaining information. When I read a book, I'll finish it and then I will just give it a star rating, and then it will not exist in my world anymore. And when people ask me, oh, what's the last book you read? I find myself not being able to articulate what the book was about, certain plot points, and that's like, I don't know why I can't do that. So I have decided to write down book reviews about certain points in the book that were made that I really liked, stuff that I didn't like, so that I can have meaningful conversations with people about it. This is how I structure my book reviews. I write the title at the top, I have a star rating to the side, and then the rest of the page is free for any of my thoughts and feelings towards it. For my first book of 2026, which was a 5-star, I read Tuesdays with Morrie, which is a fantastic book. I loved it so much. And then if you were wondering what my other books are for this year, I read The Country Will Bring Us No Peace, which was a 4-star read for me, and then Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, which was another 4-star, which was a book that I meant to finish in December and never got around to it, so I finished it in February. But this is really fun. I feel like there's a big push for going back to analog things and like no screens. And I love that I can have my Goodreads account or my Storygraph account. That is very convenient because if I finish a book, I'm always gonna have my phone on me, but I'm really trying to always have my notebook on me too. So, because why can't I have this on me at all times, just like my phone? So I've been really pushing to go back to pen and paper, analog stuff, like a whole bunch of other people have been doing, which I find is amazing. So yeah, that is my book reviews for 2026. Moving on to my traveler's journal. I have a video on how I hand stitched this journal myself, which I'm very proud of. I will be honest in saying that I have not taken this traveler's notebook anywhere this year. With the holidays and having a huge snowstorm roll in, it has made me not go anywhere. I plan to go to a cafe soon, maybe this week or next week, and work, but I will be honest in saying that I haven't taken this anywhere, but I plan to. So let's look at the content of my traveler's notebook. So in the front, I have this tiny notebook. It has a cute little bear with an orange hat on it. This is a notebook that I will use whenever I am out and I don't want to use my notes app and I want to use pen and paper. I can write down ideas or things that I want to do. If I don't have another notebook that makes sense for it to put in, I'll put it in here. And then I have these other pockets that are empty except for my tea. This magenta colored notebook I'm going to be using as my commonplace book. I have been meaning to start a commonplace book. I see all of these videos on YouTube talking about commonplacing, and I really want to start one. So this is going to be reserved as my first commonplace book. My next notebook is my French notebook. So I have, for the past couple years, been flip-flopping between what language I want to learn, and I have finally pinpointed down one language because for me, that's a lot easier than flipping between a bunch of languages. So French is a language that I really want to hone in on 2026. So I decided to create a cute little French journal. I am using Duolingo and Rosetta Stone, which, sorry if you don't like those applications. I think they are very accessible for anyone to use. And yes, I totally agree that going to the country and learning it firsthand is the best way to learn and probably the fastest way to learn. But I just don't have the means to move to France right now. So Duolingo and Rosetta Stone it is, and I'm totally fine with that. So I just use it for different articles or just writing down conversations that I have on Rosetta Stone and Duolingo. Probably go to a coffee shop and practice some French there just to pass the time in my new traveler's notebook. Now I'll put these back. My next journal is another one that I made, and it is this green journal. I didn't do any hand stitching to this. This is kind of just like a cover for all my notebooks. It can fit up to 2 notebooks in here, which is really nice. I only have this blue one in here for right now. Again, I have not taken out of the house yet. I plan to. This is really nice because it's pocket size, so I can hold it probably with my phone, maybe in my pocket, definitely in my purse. And I really want to start writing about what I'm doing, my surroundings, what I experienced that particular day. So I have this notebook set up. Very, very cool. It has a memo number, a date, what day of the week it is, and the weather outside. And then it has a giant space for you to write. So I really want to use this for when I go, not for traveling per se, because I think I want like use my traveler's journal with a traveling notebook in it. But this is for like when I'm here, doing a day trip or something like that. Not where I'm going overseas or doing a vacation, but like every day, what is around me? What am I observing? Oh, I went to a museum in DC today. Taking this with me and making time to sit down and slow down and write out what's around me and what I saw today and how it made me feel. And so I am super excited to start using this. So that's the main purpose for this notebook and journal. And it's great that I can carry it around wherever. Okay, and finally, my last notebook that I am using in 2026. This is very new. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I have been working on my mental health more, and a lot of times I can get in my own head. I get a lot of anxiety about certain tasks. Fairly recently, I was waiting on a response from someone, and I set up the expectation that day that I was going to get that task complete. There was like follow-up questions that needed to be asked and received before we finalized something. And for whatever reason, I could not carry on with another task in my task list. I was so hell-bent and I needed to get this task done before I moved on to anything else, and I wouldn't move on to anything else, which doesn't make sense. But when you're stressed and anxious, you can't think logically, or at least in my personal experience, I cannot think logically. So I need to take a step back and really think about what my anxiety is and what it's stemming from and how I can relieve it and move forward. This is gonna sound very out there and a little bit nutty, and yeah, I get that, but I don't really care because this has helped me so much. And in that particular instance, I did this thing that I'm going to show you, and I felt so much better, and I could finally move on and do other tasks and not having that ruin my entire day and making me very unproductive. And that is pulling a tarot card. I find that pulling a tarot card, writing about it, seeing what it actually means in my life, drawing conclusions from it, and focusing on that card throughout the day and coming back to it when I feel anxious is very good for me. A lot of times I would be chaotic and with lots of thoughts, and with this I can come back to a certain word or a certain mantra, and it really grounds me throughout the day. This is where I write about what tarot card I pulled on a certain day and how it made me feel, and how I am not letting whatever anxiety-inducing situation get the better of me. So if you are curious, the last time I had to pull a card was January 26th. I got the Tower as my card. I will leave it at that. I won't go into any details, but if you were curious, that was my tarot card that day. You can say what you want, but it helps me. Also, 2 disclaimers whilst I'm sat here editing this. I don't pull a tarot card every single day, and I don't pull a tarot card every time I'm feeling anxious. Sometimes I pull a tarot card for fun or to do a reading. So just wanted to make that clear. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my journal ecosystem. I hope that it drew a little bit of inspiration or just got you more interested in notebooks and journaling. In general, I think notebooks and journaling are a great way to help with your mental health. Journal about whatever you're going through in life, getting your life organized, staying on task, and having a creative outlook. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful February, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.